So I stumbled upon this narrative recently, and it's one of those that just gets under your skin. It is dark, it's deeply philosophical, and it presents a worldview that is, it is profoundly unsettling. Today, we're going to explore this world from the perspective of a really detached observer, as it comes face to face with a final, chilling logic. We're going to unpack the core ideas here, from what it calls the sickness of being, all the way to the promise of a silent homecoming.
Okay, let's dive right in with the central problem this whole world is built on. Just think about it. What if the one thing we prize above all else, our own self, our individuality, was actually a fundamental error? This quote gets right to the heart of it, framing the self not as a gift, but as a catastrophe. The idea is that all our pain and struggle comes from this state of being separate, like shattered pieces of a mirror. And the entire story that follows, well, it's all about correcting that mistake.
All right, so if we're going to understand the cure they're proposing, we first have to really get a grip on the sickness. Our journey starts in this place called the Abbey of Safety, a society that has built its entire existence around one thing, preserving the self. And in doing so, it's created what the narrative calls an architecture of stagnation.
So the folks living in this abbey, they're trapped in what's called a gilded cage. And you have to imagine it as a society totally defined by its fear of the natural order of things, of dissolving back into nothing. In this world, life isn't this amazing gift. It's a sickness, like a fever. All their culture, all their monuments and ambitions, they're just frantic temporary tremors against the inevitable silence of the void. It really makes you stop and wonder, right? Are our own societies built on a similar kind of fear?
Now here's what's really fascinating, the psychology of it. This society, with all its art and its songs, genuinely believed all that activity was a victory over nothingness. But the story just frames this as them completely fooling themselves. Their entire existence isn't some great triumph, it's just a brief, ecstatic disturbance, just waiting for the gravity of the void to come along and smooth it all over.
Okay, so into this world of, stagnation, steps this figure, a figure of correction. And he isn't presented as an agent of destruction, no, he's an agent of restoration. An entity that's here to reset a cosmic balance that's been thrown way out of whack.
So who is this agent of correction? This is the Red Specter. And look at the language here. It is so specific. He's not just a reaper, he's not a killer, he is a surgeon. And he's performing a very delicate operation to correct that original catastrophe of individuality and to gather all the fractured pieces of the self back into one single unified darkness. What an incredible and absolutely terrifying concept.
And this just lays it all out so perfectly. You have two core forces at play here. First, there's the Red Specter. He's the active principle, the architect of dismantlement who comes to act. And then, alongside him, you have the Sapphire Jester, the passive one, the instrument of truth who just watches and reflects the decay that's already there. You've got one who acts and one who just bears witness. It's this incredible duality at the heart of the story.
So what's the driving force behind the Specter? It's not just random chaos, right? Of course not. It's a cold, precise philosophy that's referred to as the logic of zero.
And this is the absolute crucial point, isn't it? From the Specter's perspective, this total dismantlement of everything, it's not malicious. It's seen as a grace, a merciful act that offers an end to that agonizing tension of being separate. It's framed as a restoration, a return to a peaceful, original state. It's this idea that annihilation is a gift. And man, that is a tough one to wrap your head around. The text lays this out almost like an industrial process, a systematic deconstruction of a person. Step 1, get rid of all the noisy, surface-level identity stuff. Step 2, take apart the ego, its will to survive. Step 3, dissolve the very idea that you are a separate being. And finally, Step 4, achieve this elegant return to the inorganic. It's methodical, it's precise, and honestly, it's a vision of cold, terrifying perfection.
Okay, but what about resistance? What about good old-fashioned free will, or just that basic drive to keep existing? Well, the narrative brings us to this incredible moment of direct confrontation, and it really serves as the story's climax.
And the story itself asks this exact question, but it does it through a character known only as the Prince, and he's the perfect symbol for this. He's basically everything about ambition and that powerful drive to become someone.
And this is where the philosophy gives its bone-chilling answer to the whole free will question. The prince's ultimate act of defiance, reaching for his dagger, is framed as just completely and utterly futile. a pathetic spark trying to set an entire ocean on fire. His ambition is seen as nothing more than froth on an infinite tide. You see, his resistance doesn't challenge the Specter's logic at all. It ends up being the ultimate proof of his point. Just a bleak but incredibly powerful image.
So this whole showdown, it triggers the climax, what the text calls the terminal shudder. It's this moment where the line between doing something and just watching it happen completely dissolves. The Reaper and the Mirror, they merge into one overwhelming presence. And in that moment, they finally close the curtain on what's called the frantic theater of the self, and they offer the crimson gift, which sounds like it's just the permission to finally stop fighting, the ultimate surrender.
So the big moment's over. The resistance is crushed. And now we just get to witness the aftermath, as the Abbey and everything it stood for finally, inevitably, gets swallowed by that tide.
And the way it's described, it's not some big, violent explosion. It's quiet. It has this sense of finality. It's as if a stage is being cleared of all its weary actors after a long, pointless play is finally ended. The end isn't a bang, but just a slow, silent embrace of darkness. There's a strange, haunting kind of beauty in it. And here it is. This is the central argument of the entire story. This total disillusion, this end of everything, is completely reframed. It isn't an ending to be mourned or feared. It's presented as a peaceful, natural return to how things were always meant to be, a homecoming. Everything in the story has been building to this single, chilling justification.
So where does that leave us? After all that, what's the big takeaway? The final act delivers the ultimate philosophical statement, and it clarifies the choice that's been at the heart of this dark tale all along.
The text leaves us with one last really powerful comparison. You've got the ambition of the overman, right? This drive for power and self-actualization. That's like lightning. It's bright, it's violent, it's loud, and then it's gone in a flash. But the void, non-being, that's the water, infinite, eternal, and silent. And the Specter's whole purpose then was to simply let the water put out the lightning. What a powerful metaphor.
And that's the ultimate promise of this logic of zero. The goal isn't just oblivion for its own sake. The goal is a state of profound peace, a comfort that has no opposite, because it's totally free from the agony and the tension that comes with being a fractured, separate self. It's a chillingly seductive idea, isn't it?
And in the end, the story just turns around and points the finger right back at us. It suggests the real struggle isn't against fading away, but it's a struggle within ourselves. And it leaves us to contemplate the very nature of our existence and to ask a truly unsettling question. Is the frantic effort of being worth the agony of its own reflection?